get back into today. I want to talk about a couple things. So first, let's start with what is the eccentric print. So pretty much the eccentric print is just like the name for the business that I started 3 months ago. And I named it eccentric because that's one word that people always use to describe me. So it's like, you know, different. It's not conforming to society. It's not doing what everyone else does. It's just being you and be authentic to you. Because a lot of things can work for me, but doesn't mean it's necessarily gonna work for you. So a lot of the advice that I give on this show and a lot of the advice just in general, take it with a grain of salt, but also take it like seriously because, you know, I have some experience in some of the things that I talk about. Um, so the reason why I started this company was mostly because I was so tired of like not doing what I wanted to do, if that makes sense. So, you know, everyone, excuse me, everyone has that moment in life when they're like, I'm tired of hanging out with this friend group. I'm tired of going to this school. I'm tired of, just not being myself. Tired of having to listen to people's rules who don't necessarily have like the best interest for you in mind. So, it took a while. I'm not gonna lie, because from an outside view, it looks like, oh, Kobe just started doing this stuff. But if like you really paid attention to my journey, you were my friend, or you even like semi have a brain, you would know that it's something that I've always been. This has always been my personality. I've never been one to just like, I guess, let people walk over me. And I don't want to say that's what people let other people do, but it just seems like people are way too scared to tell people what's really on their mind. Um, and I just want to help people get over that because at the end of the day, life is about what you make it. Yes, it's right to treat people correctly, be nice, be all the things that your mom teaches you how to be, or even your religion. But I think it's more so live life by respect and give to those who deserve it and earn respect. So, yeah. Um, so the Centric Print, I've been doing this again for 3 months, and it's been just amazing because seeing customers actually love the products that I produce, seeing the reaction of the eccentrics, is what I call my fans or customers, is like the best thing ever because I never expected to have like, again, my own company. I always helped my friends or people I used to be cool with the company. Like for example, shout out 70 times 70 because they were one of the first companies to give me like my feet underneath me. So it was like I appreciated them in the biggest way because they didn't have to. They could have did what other companies did, but they didn't. They saw my potential and they also took my ideas into consideration, which is important because everyone wants to feel like they're heard or understood, which is like another one of the goals I think of are like of human like interaction. But it's not an easy role either because like a lot of people ask me, oh, it must be easy to do this, it must be easy to do that, but it's not because it's just me doing it. And I don't want to sit here and say, oh, no one else has helped me or can't help me, but it's just more so like nobody's ever going to care about your craft, your project, or anything that you do as much as you do. So whenever you step into something like the fashion industry or the radio industry or any industry that you really do, it has to be your passion that drives you. It can't just be, oh, I want to make money. Because yes, money is a great part about being your own boss, and it's great about a lot of things, but it's also not the, I don't know how to say, the glue to life. Like, yeah, money gets you a lot of places. Yeah, you have a lot of power with it, but being that I'm someone who comes from money, I've always understood how, yes, it can like open a life of luxury, open a lot of opportunity for you things to do. But at the end of the day, I would rather have people over money and human interaction over, again, money. Like, I don't know. People just, I think in my eyes, they just put too much pressure on money and what it means because of that's how society is. And that's why I'm eccentric. I just can't live based on society's rules because at the end of the day, like I'm taking a not philanthropy, excuse me, philosophy class. And one of the things that we're, evaluating is what is education, and like how do we obtain the knowledge that we have. And it may seem like it's a really easy course, but one of the things I love most about it is that it makes my brain hurt. I have to actually think about what the professor is saying and actually like deep dive into my mind and figure out, well, why do I believe this? Why do I believe this? And if it really comes down to it, I generally don't know all the answers, but some of them are good than none. But it's just, crazy to see how life plays out. But as like you walk into the whole life conversation, one of the things, well, for me at least, like I went to private school my whole entire life. I went to private school since kindergarten to first grade, pretty much. So I've been, in and out of circles with Catholic people, with just Christian people, people of different denominations. And one of the things that is spoken about, but not really like focused on, is like the power of manifestation. Because we're taught that there is a God. Well, I believe that there's a God, and that he has, divine power over us, but he also gives us free will. So we are able to do what we want to do, just knowing that we have consequences to our actions. So that doesn't mean, oh, you can go out on the street and kill somebody. No, because you'll go to jail. But, there's also other repercussions of doing such a stupid thing. But they never really speak about like the power that a person holds within. So again, through research, through experience, through going to school, I've learned that, yeah, God does everything. God has a lot of power, but God also gave me power to do the things that I want to do and talents to do the things that I want to do. So when I learned that, and not saying that everything I wanted I can just manifest and it comes about, but it was more so like, okay, but how do I tap into manifestation? How do I get my outcomes? How do I set my intentions? How do I do any of these things? And later on, as the show progresses, I'm going to have a guest who I think is one of the more spiritual persons. And I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about like he's really self-aware. He knows himself. And he also knows, like, I guess I would say the quirks of life from a very young age. So it's very interesting to, conversate with somebody like that. But anyway, I always told myself, as a kid, oh, I want to, do fashion. I want to be a doctor. I wanted to do this, but I never really like believed in myself. And that's one of the main parts of manifestation: intention. What are your intentions that you're setting whenever you say you want to do something, whether it's in life or whether it be just like, I don't know, something as simple as, what are you going to do for the day? Like when you wake up, you have a routine, right? You brush your teeth, you do your hair, you take a shower, you get breakfast. Sometimes, more often than not, you're not really setting forward what you really want to do in your day. That's not outside of the routine. You just kind of go with the punches of life, which, are okay. But I like to plan, I guess, what I want to do for the day, so I can either know what I accomplished or what I didn't accomplish. And it's not like, again, stroking an ego kind of thing. It's more so like, if I were to die today, in my head, not anyone else's, but in my, pretty much, I think that people need to, I don't know, I guess I would say find self-awareness, because that's one of the things that's helped me most. And that's like the first lesson I teach you guys is manifestation, like kind of self-awareness, because they kind of go hand in hand. So to start off, like, set your intention. Like, what do you want to be for yourself? Not what your parents told you should be, not what your friends have told you what you should be, but what do you want to do in your life? How does that make you feel, you achieving that? Like, if you were to imagine you're achieving this thing, how does that make you feel? Does it make you happy? Does it make you anxious? Are you complacent? What is it? So once your intention is set, like for example, like last year, a couple months ago, I was like, I really, really want to be in New York Fashion Week. I just like, I don't care. I just, by next year, I'm going to have my own show. I'm manifesting it. I didn't say next year. Let me not lie. I said, I'm going to have my own show. So the timing was actually a little fast and unexpected. But I set my intention, and when I set my intention, I didn't have necessarily a doubt in my head, because I thought I'd have a, a good amount of time to, get it all together. But God works in mysterious ways. So, manifestation, you could say, is also like prayer. I think so. So I think, my intentions, my prayers were heard. And then the dedication and the work that goes in after you make that prayer is also what makes the difference. Because yeah, a lot of times, sometimes you can throw up a prayer, you can throw up a manifestation, and you can hope that, it comes out. But a lot of the times, people, especially, us humans, we depend on security. We depend on something that will give us a solid answer compared to the unknown. Um, and that can be scary. But then with that, transition to the next thing, fear. Like, what genuinely is fear? Because it's almost like biological, the fight or flight, but it's also psychological. So it's like, what in my brain is telling me that this is the scariest thing? So again, when I did my protest with Iona, one of the things that were harder were getting people to speak up because they were scared of the repercussions, whether it be people, their friends, or people around the campus not liking them or, favoring them, or possibly getting kicked out of college for what they said, which wouldn't happen. But, you know, the fear stopped them from potentially doing something that could help somebody else. Fear stopped them from having their own freedom of holding in this secret or whatever burden it may have been or, be. So one of the things that I had to learn how to do, which still gets me to this day, I'm still work in progress. I'm just trying to give you guys a head up. I made fear my best friend because last year I could legit say I almost lost everything that I really cared about. I had a bad breakup, lost a few of my closer friends, but it broke me for a while. I'm gonna be honest. It broke me for a while, because your heart is just something that you don't have control of all the time. So you give pieces and parts of it to people, and you don't know how they're gonna treat it, or you don't know the return of your investment. So whenever something bad happens, the first thing is just like to shut down, to like think of the worst, go into the worst spots of your brain or anything. So I had to just think, this person meant this much to me. This person now isn't here, has no interest in wanting to be here. Why exude energy for someone who doesn't really care, you know? And then it had to come into, it's not always about me. It's not always personal, because a lot of things that people do are just projections of how they feel. Maybe they're fearful that you're, break up with them first, cut them off first. Maybe they're fearful that, I don't know, fear has many components, many sides to it. But I would say that it's exciting, I guess. It gives you adrenaline because, whenever I'm scared of something, whenever I'm not sure about something, I kind of just want to dive face in, because what's the worst that can happen? Like, death is obviously a scary fact, but like, what's the worst that could really happen from you doing what you want to do? People will always have their opinions. That's not going to stop, whether or not you're Nicki Minaj or you're homeless on the street. It doesn't matter. People will always have their opinion about you, as you can see, because again, it's just human nature to always want to conversate or say something about somebody else. And people find, happiness out of tearing other people down. Like, I don't know. It's like they get something out of just lying and being a disingenuous person. And that's something I can never understand, because even like now, there's people on campus who just lie about simple things that don't need to be lied about. And it makes me wonder, what happened when y'all see me on your TVs in a couple years doing more than what I'm doing now? Because everything that I'm doing now is only within the constraints of what I can do from a college point of view, because I'm still a student. But once I can fully dedicate my passion and time into what I want to do, I'll be kind of unstoppable if you really think about it. And that's not on no cocky-ish. That's just more so saying, like, I know my work ethic. I know what I bring to the table, and I know what I'm capable of. And that's what I want you to realize. But the issue is people are more upset that you have your life semi figured out and they're still running to these frat sorority parties. Like, like no offense, but still, it's like if that's what you want to do, then live your college life, have fun. But you can't knock me for trying to elevate myself, especially as a black man who has to fight harder in order to get into the spots that maybe you guys could walk right into. I have to kick down the door when you guys have the door open for you. So, yeah, with that, there's some things we're gonna have to get into, but we can't get into it here because this is monitored by Iona. But there's a lot that we gotta talk about because I like to be transparent with everybody, and I don't like to speak unless I have facts or receipts to back me up because otherwise it's just speculation, hearsay, he said, she said. It's a messy situation. So that's why I try to come with the facts. Call me Dadable, and I want to be able to show you guys my side of the truth and my opinions when it comes to other topics that you guys are curious about. Like, you guys ask me a lot of questions through YOLO, the anonymous app, and a lot of them are really, really good questions, but I'm trying to figure out a way to articulate those questions without maybe the negative connotation. Because I say a couple things. Yes, alleged. Yes, alleged. I say a couple of things, but we want to say alleged because people get upset when you try to call them out for the facts. But I definitely got to get into some things because people are just deep in their misery, and I'm not trying to be involved in that at all. And I mind my business for the most part, but if you're gonna send for the king, then don't be shocked when the army comes down, because it's simple as that. I don't like to really beef with people, even though my Snapchat will say otherwise, but it's more so like fun at this point because people will really watch 30 seconds of your story and think they know your whole entire life story. They can listen to 4 seconds of someone else's perception of you, and that builds their whole entire perception of you for a lifetime. So there's a lot of sheep, and I think you guys need a shepherd to lead you in the right direction and be on the right side of history, the right side of the truth, the right side, period. Not saying I'm always right, because I'm wrong a lot too, and anyone that's real can admit that. But for the most part, I like to keep like I said, keep my receipts, keep the facts with me. I know there's a way that Instagram Live can bring up pictures nowadays. Hold up. I think there's a way. Oh, there is a way. Okay, so later we're gonna tap into it because I couldn't have my special guest right now because of the whole COVID safety. Students aren't really being allowed to use Iona material, but later tonight I might go live again. Whether or not people watch, I'll upload it, and we're gonna talk about that alleged promised tea that you guys wanted to hear. But in the more serious side, to switch over, let's talk about power and control. So one would think, hey, this police officer has power over me. This friend has power over me. The administration has power over me. My parents have power over me. All in some senses are very true. But in the same way that, we have free will and our consequences like delegate, how we will continue to do this action or retract from doing it, I see it as this. Yes, let's say you get pulled over. Yes, if you want to live, especially if you're black, you should listen to the cop. You should give him your license. You should answer his questions respectfully without any altercation. But in the other sense, you don't have to. There's no omnipotent power like God telling you, hey, if you don't give this guy your license right now, the world is going to shake over. No, it's not that. People just have a power complex and they believe that, hey, because I have a badge and a gun, I can kill people. Doctors have licenses to do surgery on people, and even they aren't allowed to kill people they don't like. And there's a lot of systemic racism even within the medical field. So I see it more as a personal issue because people have personal power issues and power complexes. Like, for instance, again, it goes hand in hand with money. I've never seen money or power as the bread and butter of life. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, having those things are great. Everyone wants money, everyone wants power, but power comes from within. You have to believe again how powerful you are, or you have to actually know how to regulate your ego from reality. And that's what I believe that a lot of issues are with police officers, a lot of issues with students on this campus, a lot of students with a lot of issues with people in general. Because you're taking what someone said again from a 30-second viewing on your story and you're internalizing it deeply. And I understand it really is hard to look past that sometimes because sometimes they might hit the nail on the head and the shots might apply. But and a lot of the times it's just people talking about something they know nothing of. So why are you gonna take 5 seconds out of your day to even read that person's comment, read that person's anything, and ruin your whole entire vibe? This life is literally again about what you make it. That person saying that thing to you, it doesn't have to affect you. Yeah, it can bother you a little bit, but if you learn self-awareness and you learn why it bothers you and you're working on healing that, it's just another sentence someone said. Anyone that is looking to tear you down for zero reason, unprovoked, anyone lying on your name, anyone upset by your presence, upset by your personality, upset by anything that you are, it's not a you issue. It's more so they're lost in their own sauce and they can't they can't figure out why people are so attracted to you. Again, for the most part, for the most part, I stay in my room, I mind my business, but there's still always people who can keep my name in their mouth. So instead of always going crazy like I do on my Snapchat or dragging them, one of the things that Gary Vee, and he's an amazing entrepreneur and he's an inspiration, honestly. He told me and taught me to have empathy for people like that because they're sad. Their life is sad. They have nothing going for them. Some people aren't meant for fashion. Some people aren't meant for radio. Some people aren't meant for the public eye. Some people are more comfortable personally doing their own thing, and that's okay. We need all those kind of people. But because you like to go to your friend's house and do what y'all do, um you make it seem like it's a me issue that I want to not be a part of that. I don't want to even go near that because it's messy. It's not what I want to do. I'm not going to fake who I'm going to be and who I like just to have friends, just to be around people. You guys want to rub elbows with everybody in this school, everybody in the world, when everybody isn't your friend. I had to, again, learn that the hard way. Not even saying that to scare you guys, tear you down or anything, but everybody really isn't your friend. That's something my dad told me that I always hated, but dang, is it true? Like, people can literally sit in your face, act like they have the best intentions for you, say hi to you every single day, hug you even, come to your birthday party. I don't know. And still stab you in the back as soon as you turn around. It's just the way life happens to work. So instead of being fearful about that, again, prepare. Just understand that these are the components and these are the human characteristics of life. It sucks to say, but it simply is. But take a little break. You guys can ask questions. Um, I want to read one of the questions that I got, if I can. I have to double check again and see how mission consistent it is, but I really actually do enjoy answering the questions too. Like, it's something to do because it's COVID-19. We can't really hang out. It's boring, on campus. It's boring everywhere unless you're, just like, living your life, on the strings. But it's a way of connecting to people who are interested or maybe not so interested, regardless. it's nice knowing that people are interested in how I became this little person that I am now in fashion. And I'm not saying little in a demeaning way. I'm just saying as in like I have a lot more work to do. So I'm not gonna say I'm the best. I'm cocky, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie. um, and it's also interesting knowing like, people keep track of like small things that I thought people would never notice about designs that I do, about little prodigious things that I do on the website. Cause yeah, I do a lot of subliminals, but I also have a lot of, good subliminals too. Um, and it's also like one of the best feelings I would have to say is walking and seeing my clothes on somebody, walking and hearing somebody like, like Kobe, yo, what's up? I really love what you're wearing. And I'm wearing something from the Eccentric print, or I'm wearing something that I styled. Hearing someone say, oh, Kobe, I love your photo shoots. I just learned how to take photos literally last year. I've always like, taken like little photos, but I've never really like made it a career because I'm getting paid to do it. um, until last year. So all this again is very new to me, and it may look like I'm taking it with like ease, but it's hard. It's just all about again managing and knowing what you can control, what you can't control, and doing your best to kill whatever you're about to drop, what you're going to produce. Because like I said, no one else can love your work. No one else can understand your meaning behind your work better than you can. So it's your job as a creative, your job as whatever occupation you're doing, to be able to explain that to your viewers, explain it to your customers, your fans, your eccentrics, whatever you guys want to say, call them. Doesn't matter to me. It's whatever makes you guys comfortable. Um, hmm. I have something I want to say, but I don't know if I should get into it. I don't know if I should talk about it yet. It might just take away from the suspense. I don't know. Could be not. Mm, I don't know. But let's talk about real quick because I never got the chance to really talk about it, guys. New York Fashion Week, because that was actually like, amazing, and I want to get into that because that whole entire week literally felt like one big dream. Like even though nothing was really like physical, most of it was virtual. Planning it, getting there, putting my clothes together, fitting the clothes on the models, picking exactly which ones that I want to do, and all that. That was like top 10 like best feelings on earth. Like, and then having people who are close to me, people who are interested in what I'm doing, people who support me, sit there and repost my stuff, buy my clothes on the spot, and like not think twice about it. Um, encourage me in all those ways. It really does redact from all the negativity that came from that week. People again try and always do fail to ruin my happiness or ruin something that I have going. But when you're blessed and highly favored, and when you are strategic in what you do, nobody can really take that away from you. Nobody can minimize that, because whether or not, it still happened and it was still great. Um, I'm excited for the next collection we have coming out. I think I might drop something tonight, depending on whether or not I do this I do this live later tonight. I might drop something for you guys, something a little, what I would call eccentric. And no, treat you guys for listening, always being there, not always being there, but majority of times being there. I'm kidding. But actually being involved in the eccentric print, actually caring what I'm doing, actually wanting to support, actually doing all of that. So I think this is a good place to stop for now. Next week I'm gonna come back and actually do a whole show formally, but I just want to sit down and talk to you guys for a couple minutes and give you a slight behind the scenes of my life, a slight anything that most people wouldn't do. Um, so with that, I would bid you guys farewell. and tune in and maybe like 2 hours if I do this podcast or not. We'll see. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do it because I'm feeling, today I'm in the mood to do it. My guest is in the mood to do it. So I will see you guys in 2 more hours. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching the Eccentric podcast. And I love you, peeps. All right, download video.